So we're going to be talking about the entire discography of Wage War.
Nice.
If you're not familiar with Wage War, go back and listen to our Bands from Florida episode. Kind of gave you a whole rundown on who they are, what
Yeah.
they're about.
Now we're going to dive deep.
But they are from Ocala, Florida,
Okay.
home of A Day to Remember.
Mm-hmm.
So the first album we're going to be talking about in their discography is Blueprints. 11 songs, 38 minutes,
Good time.
released in November of 2015.
Not 5.
The lineup here consisted of Britton Bond on lead vocals, Seth Blake on lead guitar, Cody Quistad on rhythm guitar and clean vocals, Chris Gaylord on the bass, and Steven Klusner on the drums.
They have some dorky ass names.
They sound like a bunch of white boys.
They
yeah.
do. Like super dork names, but man. Anyways.
So they kick it off with the song Hollow. It's heavy and angry. So mark my words, watch your mouth when nobody's around. No one remembers the cowards when they're 6 feet beneath the ground.
It's a quick opener that grabs you by the throat and gets your attention immediately. Great lyric.
And they got a nice blah thrown in there for good
Blah.
measure.
One of many. Britain loves his blez.
So 21. Nice old school metalcore jam. These guys definitely listened to a lot of Killswitch Engage growing up. Cody's clean vocals definitely set this band apart, though, because he sings in a higher voice than what the old school metalcore bands did.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually credit Wage War as one of the bands to spearhead this more modern metalcore sound. They kind of bridge the gap along with a few other bands like The Ghost Inside.
Yeah, they kept that aggressive momentum going until that chorus, which is our first taste of the cleans from Cody. And for me, it doesn't really work great on this track. It's more of an emo whine that clashes with the beat down nature of the rest of the track. Started out as a good opener, but it fell apart as it went on.
Yeah, so what about Alive?
What about it?
They had a really cool, almost alarm clock style intro. Sounds like we're counting down for a bomb to go off. And then it does, with some almost new metal style groove. One thing that I took note of here is that this is their debut album, and Britton's screams here are very well enunciated.
Yeah.
Like, you can understand everything that he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a rarity with a debut album in this style.
It's very well produced.
They got a nice, shreddy, thrash-style guitar solo in here as well. That's something that definitely becomes less prevalent as the band progresses.
For sure. But at the beginning of this track, it was almost nu metal.
For sure, yeah.
It's got a simple lead in and a big bounce. It's got a catchy, energetic chorus. That thrash solo section rips, and the song is nonstop until the clean section. That was actually a nice compliment at the end of the track. It didn't clash as much as 21.
So the title track, Blueprints.
Yeah.
This is a great title track. One of the best songs on the album for sure. I definitely think it sums up the vibe on this album. Big As I Lay Dying style riffing mixed with the genty guitar tone that has come to represent modern metalcore.
Yeah, I mean, this is what metalcore's all about, right? It's heavy, riff-filled, beat-down drums, soaring chorus, clean solo, crushing breakdowns. This is the blueprint. Well done.
So another standout track on this one is The River. This song is just absolutely brutal for a metalcore song. The guitars are so fucking heavy and more technical than anything else they've done on this album so far, in my opinion. Then we get a minute and a half in, and it just gets absolutely frantic with this alarm sound.
So The River is the most streamed track on the album. Immediately pounding you in the face with the drums. It's a heavy pit mover. There's multiple massive breakdowns. This is the heaviest and most ferocious track on the entire album. Lyrically dealing with the toxic relationship full of lies and deceit and breaking free from it. There's the lyric, here's to the past I'll never need. No, here's to you. Now rest in peace. Definitely the standout on the album for me, The River.
Yeah, another one that jumped out at me was Enemy. This one stood out because of how new metal it is.
Yeah.
It starts out with a Wes Borland-inspired riff and DJ scratching. It's a cool-ass song, but you can definitely feel a little bit of the old Limp Bizkit vibes going on here, albeit a much more aggressive version.
It does, and I noted the scratching in the new metal feel, but it moves away from that pretty quick. It goes back into the metalcore roots. Lyrically talks about self-sabotaging and doubt with the lyric, all alone again. Looks like it's me versus me, my own worst enemy. Good track.
Yeah, it was a good track. The DJ scratching was weird and felt a little bit out of place.
Yeah.
Like it's never been on any other song before this or since.
Nope.
Just kind of an odd choice.
They have the new metal influence in Alive, but it's not very prevalent throughout their catalog
Yeah.
in general. So
And they closed this album out with Desperate, one of the angriest and most aggressive songs on the album. Very, very, very As I Lay Dying inspired on this track.
yeah, it's a powerful closer with the lyric, "This is a call to the human race. Will you make a difference or just fill a grave?" So this album's powerful. It's packed full of emotion and aggression, showcasing Wage War's ability to be heavy both lyrically and musically, full of riffs and breakdowns and blasts. It only suffers from some clean choruses that clash with some of the songs, in particular 21 and Basic Hate. Still, Blueprints is a hell of a debut album, and it gets a 4.5 out of 6 from me.
Yeah, so for me, this is one hell of a debut album. For a band to come out of the gate this hard is almost unheard of in the modern era. That said, they were still finding their sound a little bit here, so this isn't quite the Wage War that we're going to eventually come to know. I believe Wage War is one of the bands that really helped to usher in the modern era of metalcore, but that wasn't quite happening yet here. This was still mostly old school Killswitch Engage sound with a little bit of the newer style vocals peppered in. While this may not be the most original album, it's fucking killer. I give Blueprints a 5 out of 6.
Nice.